Good morning. It is a beautiful day here in South Georgia. As you see, I love it when the mane is white. It's hard to keep clean. Something is on my heart that I wanted to talk about, and I don't really know how to everything planned really. So this is the spooky part coming through here. It's a little river. Should go culvert, which he navigated like a pro. So I'm in the back 40, and it's gonna be 75 today. Beautiful. And I would show you my face, but I can't turn this thing around somehow. I can't figure it out. And it's not that pretty. This is much prettier. So, yes, thanks, Tooch. Yeah, me too. Me too. So, I just feel so blessed right now. I just feel so happy. And it's been a long journey, and I'm having some big successes right now, which are definitely telling me I'm in the right place. Some of you may know it's been a hard road for me finding my place, and right now I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. Especially, since the last 11 years or so, I've been down in the South pursuing my dream of being a dressage trainer, and I've ridden with some excellent trainers and had some really good coaching, and have had experience in many different areas of horsemanship. And I love it all. Horses are amazing. And I didn't grow up with horses. I didn't grow up with money. So I've really had to work hard to get there. And I'm happy to say I've competed successfully through I-1. I have my bronze and my silver, and I'm halfway to my gold. So those are big achievements. And I, haven't taken the time to really be proud of myself for them. There's dogs over there. He always goes to where he's scared. Okay, let's go. Come on. Go away from the scary dogs. All right. Now we're trotting. Anyway, it's a beautiful view of the pond. Gorgeous day. Except for the annoying dogs. Come on, just ignore them. So, yeah. Being proud of myself and being happy are things that don't come naturally to me. And, I've been very driven and just pushed myself, and to the point where, I kind of broke. So I see a lot of horse people going in that direction, and I think that is a very common thing to happen. But I felt like I needed to share a little bit of my story, and hopefully it resonates with people. And if I could help somebody by sharing, it would really make it feel like it was all worth it. So 3 years ago, I developed an issue which caused a lot of pain while I was riding, and it happened overnight. It had nothing to do with riding. It was totally something else, but it took a long time to figure out what it was, and all that. So the rigmarole. And after I got it taken care of, the side effects were still pain while I'm riding, which really put a big damper in my riding career, because that's what I love to do. I want to be on a horse 12 hours a day. I want to ride 8-10 horses a day. I want to get to Grand Prix. I have all those aspirations. And this happened at a time when I had a barn of my own. I had a 12 stall barn. I had busy schedule, lots of clients. I was making a lot of money. In fact, the most money I've ever made was the same month that I had basically to have surgery. And that was disheartening, especially because for a couple of months it was actually a pretty major surgery, and I couldn't even walk for several weeks. So I couldn't take care of the horses. I couldn't ride them, so I had no income coming in. I had to close the barn down, and it was very lonely rehab, living in a small barn apartment by myself without even having my horses outside my door. So it was hard. But I have really good friends and family, and I tried to get back into it. I went to Valhalla, which is a great place. It's a real family environment out there, and I felt safe. I felt supported, and I went back to trying to ride 8 horses a day, and I couldn't do it. And this just made me absolutely miserable. Because that was always my dream, and that's what I worked so hard for. And so I'm really lucky that I can still ride, and that the pain is manageable. But so for people that have issues where they can't ride at all, I can't imagine how hard that would be. And I'm thankful I can still ride, but it's like a grief of any sort of loss. It's not just a loss of my ability. I felt like I was not able to not only achieve my dreams, but it affected my business, and it really suffered financially for a long time. And that everything just came together, making me feel so depressed and worthless. And I couldn't see how to get out of it. I couldn't see how to get through it. And a lot of people would say, well, just get another job. And I did. I started a side business with Rodan Fields, which was great, little extra money. But getting a job where I have to fill out a resume and write an application, like I tried to start that process, but I honestly wanted to die. Just part of me just can't do it. I did it for a long time, for many years. I worked in customer service. I went to school. I did all that while back home in Wisconsin, and that's just not me. So part of my journey is figuring out who I really am. As I always felt like, I was born in the wrong place. I just was born into the wrong family. Not that I don't love my family, but I wanted horses growing up since day one. I just never remembered time I didn't love horses. So I don't know where that came from, but it's got to be a God thing, and I can't change it. It's there. So, part of the struggle was just the anxiety, the depression. I didn't realize it, but I had a lot of anxiety. I've always been prone to depression. I had eating disorders growing up, and none of that was really taken very seriously. I should have gotten more help at a younger age, but I'm not the kind of person to ask for help. So, and when you're a kid, you don't know what you need. I had everything I needed growing up, don't get me wrong. But there was definitely some things that were being overlooked, but that's also, again, part of my journey. Is, I was really immature. My parents were immature. My mom had me when she was 21. And my grandma had her when she was 16. So my whole family is really a young family. And that's been part of my journey, is dealing with my dad, who I did not love. Actually, it's my stepdad. My biological father was never in the picture. So, there's issues there, which never dealt with. And yeah, so I guess I'm just I'm in that place in my life where I need to deal with these things. And really, then I broke my ankle. Oh, I forgot to say that. So after I had the pain and my riding, I came to Valhalla, then I broke my ankle. And then I was in the same situation again, where I couldn't walk, I couldn't ride, I was miserable. And at least I was in a supportive environment where the horses were outside my door. And I had a working student at the time who was a beautiful rider, and I taught her lessons on all my horses, and she did a great job. And I felt, really successful in that way. So I knew that at that point was sort of God telling me I needed to focus on others, not just myself. So it took me 11 minutes and 37 seconds to get to that point in this video. But yeah, that's what life's about. It's about helping others. And I've always known that, but I didn't know how to do it. And I didn't feel like I really had anything to offer, because I always sort of put myself down for, well, you didn't start riding as you were a kid, you're never going to be as good as these other riders, and all this stuff. I didn't start riding until I was taking lessons until I was 20. I actually rode a little bit when I was a kid on some Western horses with my friend Kim, but I moved away and we sort of lost touch, and how life goes. But so anyway, right now I'm in this beautiful place, and I'm starting to get my feet back under me, and I'm with amazing people, and everything's kind of coming full circle right now. So I'm grateful for that. But the anxiety, I wanted to talk about that because I think that's something a lot of people can relate to. So old Colette, before my, I don't know if you'd call it enlightenment, but something happened. But old Colette would use horses, use riding to ease my anxiety. And I learned this early on. So part of why I became a trainer, because back in Wisconsin, I would lease a horse, or I would take lessons or whatever, and I would ride that one horse. And if I had a good ride, I felt great. If I had a bad ride, I was down in the dumps. So I learned that, well, if you ride 3-4 horses in a day, and one of them's a bad ride, the other's kind of weighed out. And overall, I was making progress, and my horses were making progress, and I was happy. Well, so everything changed then when the pain issue started, because it really only hurts when I'm riding. Thankfully, and not thankfully, but thankfully it only hurts when I'm riding. So, and I never know how bad it's going to be until I actually get in the saddle. So that moment before getting on the horse is a terrifying moment for me, because I don't know, okay, well, am I going to be able to ride the 5-6 horses I have on my plate today comfortably, or am I going to suffer? Which I would always just push myself through it, which of course made it worse and made me more and more depressed. But I was stuck, and I was stuck there for a long time. I was stuck in that place for a long time because of stubbornness, immaturity. I didn't want to move on. I didn't want to move on to that next phase in my life because I had worked so hard to get to where I was. And I didn't feel like I had accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. So I had to go inward, and that's where really the healing began, because I had to go inward and deal with those issues, especially with that broken ankle. I had nowhere to go. And I had some very good friends that set me down, the right path of meditation, and inner child work has really been amazing, and hard things, which, I had the time to do. And I've incorporated those things into my life now that I'm back to work. And I am still riding, and I still have pain, but it's manageable. And on a good day, I can ride, 3-4 horses, maybe not for an hour each, but I can definitely ride them. And the main thing is, though, I have a lot to offer. And I'm now in a place where I never thought I would be. I hate to say it, but I've always looked down on Western riders, any discipline. I always looked down on them for their, lack of horsemanship, I perceived lack of horsemanship and rough riding. And I don't like the way Western tack looks, any of that. I also am not a kid person, mainly because of my childhood issues. It wasn't really, bringing my inner child along with me, is what somebody told me once. Now I'm teaching kids. I'm teaching beginner lessons. They're on the lunch line. And that's how I learned. 20 years old, college student. I had a great instructor who put me on the lunge line every day for 20 minutes before taking me off. And I developed a very good seat that way. And now I'm able to do that with my kids. And I never thought kids would even be receptive to it, but there's a couple kids who are very good riders that I can't get off the lunge line. And they're just developing the most amazing balance and abilities. And I have Western riders that are riding English with me, and it's improved their barrel pattern, their pulls, everything that they do out here. Which, it's a God thing, again, as to why I'm even here in the first place. I came to Amanda, had a dressage horse in her barn. Very nice dressage horse, imported from Germany, that she didn't know what to do with, because nobody around here does dressage. They all ride Western. But she's a sale barn, and she has a good reputation for selling a lot of horses. And he ended up here, and she did have someone riding him, but that person left right when I came on the scene, which was with a client who was looking at that horse. It was not a match for them, but I loved the horse, and she was having a hard time selling him. He'd only had a show record through second level, but he was doing tempi changes and pirouettes and all this, a little piaffe and passage, all this stuff. So I reached out to her, and I told her I would be happy to help her work with him, and she said yes, absolutely, and later told me that she'd actually had a vision of me showing him, which I ended up doing. We showed through Prix St. George. Do you want to go through this water? We showed through Prix St. George, and then his owners decided not to sell him and took him home. Don't jump it, just walk through it. Good boy. Alright, so anyway, that way. I also had a horse that I didn't know what to do with. I had a thoroughbred off the track that I had gotten to do the makeover with, which I'd done a couple years previously and had success with. And I found this beautiful horse. Me and my client found him together. She actually owns him still. And I just had nothing but problems with him. He He actually had stifle surgery around the same time I had my surgery. Then we bounced around. I'm sure he developed ulcers. He had a pole injury. Anyway, lots of, you know, 1 step forward, 2 step back kind of stuff. And he got to the point where I was just like, okay, he's kind of dangerous, like borderline dangerous, because he's starting to do all this stuff and, you know, rearing up, popping up, just being, he would bite the rein out of your hand. Oh, that's the worst feeling if you have a horse do that. Like, turn his head around and take it out of your hand. So then you have no control. On a big 17-hand horse, that is not a good feeling. So after I started working with her dressage horse, she was telling me all about her techniques that she has for problem horses, and this is the kind of stuff she deals with every day. And I just thought that was incredible, and I whisked him up here, and they were riding him within 3 days, and he's just made nothing but progress ever since. So I like to call them the good cowboys. Hey Badger. This is Badger, he's blind. And there's little Tress. She's my little lesson pony, but she's for sale, 4-year-old. Anyway, hey. Hello. It's being very spooky today. So at the same time, my situation I was in after I left Valhalla was not working out very shortly after I got there. So it I ended up coming up here, which has been a blessing for me. But I also hear people say what a blessing it has been for them as well. And I actually do enjoy teaching the kids. And it's crazy how things have come full circle. So all this to say, and you're probably not listening anymore, so I've lost my attention too, but all this to say, whatever you're going through, just stay positive, focus on what you want, and God is working in your life, and you'll get through it.